trepidatiously try to record while I ride my bike and hopefully not lose my phone. Oh, this is gonna end badly. This is gonna, oh Lord. Oh Lord. No, my brakes don't work. This is how phones are broken, people. Oh, I heard a snake. Oh no. Okay, let's fix that. Derp. So I'm riding my bike over to Wiener Schnitzel because my dad has some coupons for some Sundays. Ice cream, the kind, not the day. And so, whoa. So I just helped my mom set up a Twitter account so my dad can post links to his various blogs. My dad used to be quite a prolific writer. He used to do movie reviews and he used to work for Zoo News and some now defunct magazines. He used to be somebody. He used to work for Disney too, and I remember when I was little we would get into these ritzy parties, but I was a little kid, so it didn't really mean much to me. But anyway, and he's trying to get into blogs, but both my mom and my dad don't really understand how blogs work, and so it's a little bit of blind leading the blind. I've done some of what I know how to help them, but the truth is I don't know that much about blogs either. But anyway, so we set up a Twitter account, and my mom is currently posting links to what articles he's done already. He has a couple of articles, or a couple of blogs. One of them is Lively Lingo for Writers, and it is all terms grouped by like topic that are kind of unusual, and it's to help writers try to make their characters and such sound authentic. So it's like, oh, here's some, terms for antiques that only antique dealers would know, and that kind of thing. And then another article is, or another blog, I forget what it's called exactly. I think it's True Tales of the West. And it's all Old West stories that are actually factual, that he's compiled. My dad's a huge history buff. He loves history of all kinds. So he's compiled all these true tales. And originally they're selling these as Kindle stories, and they still have them available on Kindle, but they weren't really getting the word out about them. So they decided to start putting them up on blogs in the hopes that, maybe the blog can become popular and they can sell advertising on the blog or something, because my parents and I are not in a financially beneficent place right now, so we're trying all these different ventures to try to make money. Anyway, and then he has another blog he hasn't actually posted to yet that's supposed to be like Southern California places to go. Here he is. I'm just telling them about your blogs. And then the new one that he just started is basically going to be personal stories, stuff from him being a dad. Like he just posted one today at my suggestion that's a dad's reaction to the whole Miley Cyrus thing, and I haven't actually read it yet, but my mom did and she said it's really cute, and I'm gonna read it when we get back. But yeah, so that'll be like his reactions to things, funny stories from when he was raising me, funny stories from his past careers, stuff like that, because my dad has actually had quite an interesting life. It's weird to think of that because, you think of them as your parents, like all they ever are what you knew them as. But anyway, so I'm getting worried about my phone jumping out of my little basket, so I'm going to wrap this up here. Like I said, we're going to Wiener Schnitzel to get sundaes, so I'll go do that, and maybe we'll ask him some questions about his blogs when we get there. See you in a bit. This is what we see whenever we cross this bridge on the way over to all the stores, by the way. Isn't it pretty? There's lots of ducks and turtles and minnows and giant frogs, and yeah, it's awesome. And mosquitoes, lots of mosquitoes. Somebody apparently left their dog outside without a collar or anything. You seem friendly though. Hi. Hi. It's okay. Yours?
Good Mustang salad. You want to go home to the air conditioner?
The birds, the birds. They're going to kill us. Wow. This tastes very strange. I don't know what I was expecting.
Looks like ice cream with just some sort of caramel fudge thing on it.
It's supposed to be cotton candy flavored. It's interesting. Anyway, you have your strawberry sundae, better soda.
Takes care of 3 basic food groups.
So, Dad, what made you decide to do your vlogs?
I'm getting bored. I miss writing. The writing's changed so much that I can't go back to what I was doing. So I'd try something different.
What would your ideal situation be?
Go back to writing a book.
In regards to the blog.
Because I was going to say, because I miss actually holding something in my hand. Now I'm just writing words and I go out to some electronic
Well, that's a-
neverland. And where
Yeah.
my words are circling and
Yeah,
some
you don't
million
really
years from now, somebody on another planet's going to pick them up. And
Yeah, I know you don't really understand that, like, the thing about the internet versus, like, magazine, with magazine you're already guaranteed people are going to read it because they're already getting a magazine. But with the internet, you post first and then you try to get people to look at it. With a couple exceptions, depending on, like, if it's a movie or something. But yeah, and you have to post regularly. And basically you try to establish an identity as, like, you know, someone who reliably posts interesting things. And, you know, you are kind of a repository for useless knowledge, but sometimes that's a good thing. Some people like useless knowledge.
I prefer to think of my mind as a giant fly paper that just attracts things and sticks to it.
Yeah.
Sounds better than saying repository of worthless knowledge.
Hey, I said useless, not worthless.
No, okay. I paid for that sandwich. It'd be nice to.
Yeah. But anyway, so your 4 blogs, as I already explained them, but one of them is True Tales of the West. And how did you find those stories? Just you heard them and then decided to pursue them?
I just made them up.
No, you didn't.
No. I've always had an interest in unusual things. When you go to a small town and
Unusual, but not gross.
no, oh no, I don't care anything about that. But I always, when I was travel writing, I always found my best source was local taxi drivers and things. And they'd point out something unusual. Same thing with True West. I was in Wickenburg area.
How many taxi drivers did you have that just randomly started talking about the Old West?
Well, I sort of cultivated them.
Okay, you cultivated taxi
The taxi
drivers.
drivers and waitresses, and that's where they learned most about it. There was a waitress in Wickenburg, Arizona, and she knew I was there as a writer, and they were showing me all the official sites. And she said, "Have you seen the jail tree?" And I had no idea what it was, and she took me outside and pointed, and it was a tree where in the old Wild West they could have a jail, so they chained people to the tree. And I never would have known it, except the waitress said, "Hey, that's cool," and pointed it out to me. It was not on the official tour.
It's the haunted tree.
Yeah.
Have you done an article about that yet?
No.
All right. Well, maybe we could do
I've
that
got a lot
next.
of other, like I just finished
Well,
one.
so tell us a summary of like the stories you have written so far. And you originally were doing them as Kindle little short stories, but people weren't really discovering them. So now you're putting them on the blog, and hopefully, if people read it on the blog and they're interested, they can go to Kindle and buy it, and it'll have an actual cover and illustrations and stuff like that. So, plus you'd be supporting him, so that'd be nice.
And you encourage my daughter to draw the cover.
Yeah, exactly. So tell us about the other stuff that you've written.
You mean historically, or?
Well, no, the ones that you have written already that are on the blog now.
Well, I just posted one not too long ago about. A lot of people don't realize when you say Texas, you think of the Alamo and Indians, but Texas had a navy, and Texas was broke.
Well, yeah, they are halfway in the water, so.
Anyway, the state was broke. Well, the country then. The country was broke, so somebody came up with the idea of renting out the navy to whoever wanted to pay the rent, and they did.
A navy of mercenaries.
Exactly. A little breakaway.
And did they do anything unscrupulous?
No, they didn't do anything unscrupulous, but they made life very unpleasant for the Mexican Navy because they went down and they were rented by a bunch of rebels. But little stories like that, or the story of a little town in Nevada that was known to be so wild and woolly that when the train would come in, people would be afraid to get off the train because they would see gunfights and there were battles and Indian wars, all sorts of terrible things. And what the people didn't realize was that the town was actually so peaceful it didn't even have a jail. It was very boring living here. So the local theater group got together, and these were newcomers on the train. They wanted to see the Wild West, and that's exactly what the town did. But in fact, there was no crime there. All the guns were blank. The Indians were friendly, and shy Earls in there. It was just for 2 years they put on 1,300 shows.
So it was a Wild West town, and people didn't even know that. It was funny.
No, I mean, people come and they would see bandits robbing the bank, and they didn't realize the bank got robbed about 3 times a week. But nobody's really robbing.
This makes me want to watch Django Unchained again. And then your other blog is the Lingo for Writers one.
Oh, yeah. I always was fascinated by odd terms that you find in different occupations. For example, if you're a race car driver and you prang somebody, that means you bumped into them. No race car driver will say, I bumped into him. So I find out little funny little words. And I just make lists of
It's a
them.
useful resource if you're writing about something and you want to make the characters sound like they're actually from that occupation or whatever.
Exactly. They sound like what they really are.
Seems like it would be hard to get enough terms for a whole blog, though.
Well, I just wandered around for several years with my little notebook, scratched them into them. And it's like when I worked at Disney. We had
Now
all
he has a
these-
blue. No, he doesn't have a BlackBerry. Okay. He doesn't even know what a BlackBerry is, but
Yeah, dude, we used to pick them off the bushes.
yeah, not that kind.
Anyway,
And then you have your San Diego one, but you haven't posted anything to it.
oh, Southern California one.
Yeah, where you were just going to do your like old fogies guide to Southern California.
No, that's a little fogey guy. I'm going to put in little travel things, but it's not the usual go see this park, go see that theater, this ancient building. It's, again, I just pick up little funny things. Like in Orange County, there's a guy who loves model trains, and he has a McDonald's. So he's filled his McDonald's with model trains. You sit there and eat your hamburger, and all these trains are going in all directions, all around you.
Yeah, so I feel like everybody knows about that, but I was talking to somebody, and I remember who I was talking to, I was like, blah, 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 yeah, like that model train place in next to Knott's Berry Farm. And they were like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you don't know about the McDonald's that has the model trains? Like, really? I thought that was really well known. So basically it's gonna be a guide to interesting places in San Diego that don't usually make it to the
In
guidebooks.
Southern California.
Southern California, sorry.
Yeah, kind of, but not an official heavy guidebook that you walk around with. Just little fun things, interesting things, some sad, some funny. Like I'm right here in San Diego, where we live nearby. So we're going to write one of these days about the waterfront. And to me, the saddest place I can think of along the waterfront in San Diego is there's this little stubby dock that sticks out. And it's right near the Midway Museum, and it's just a nice, pleasant dock now where people go out and fish from and so forth. But I can remember back in the old days when they would have troop ships going to battle. They didn't fly people back and forth. And that was the dock where sailors and soldiers and Marines got on small boats and went out to their warships to go off to battle in World War II. And were seen off by their families, and I've often wondered how many tears that one little dock soaked up.
And then your newest blog, you just posted one thing there today, and my suggestion, which I was really kind of surprised that you went with it, but so...
Well, you yell at me, didn't you?
I did. I hit you. I was like, right? No, I didn't.
Parent abuse, parent abuse.
But I told you that you should write a thing that was your reaction to Miley Cyrus at the VMAs from a dad's perspective. You know, not that you've ever really been familiar with pop culture or anything. I'm not either, but you're like, I'm like 5% as involved in pop culture as the average person, and he's 5% as involved in pop culture as I am. So, but your take, and what, in summary, what did you say in your article? I haven't even read it yet, so.
I know, you haven't yelled at me.
I'll read it when we get home. So what is your take on it?
Well, I put down that I thought it was sad that this is the only best way she could come up to keep a career going was to slut it up, and it's just not necessary.
And what do you think about the fact that she's doing the same thing that a lot of other pop stars do and don't get yelled at for?
It's just another herd. They're yelling at her because she was in Disney, but that's no big deal.
So do you think that all pop stars should
Still
be
trying
held?
to eat my ice cream, that's whatever.
Do you think pop stars should all be held to the same standards, or do you have like
No.
a special kind of responsibility to start out as a child star to stay clean because there's so many kids that grew up watching you?
No, but it seems to me like she could come up with something better.
Yeah.
I mean, we already have
It
enough.
does seem pretty desperate.
It is, it's desperate.
I'm an adult. I'm an adult.
I mean, with somebody like Lady Gaga or something like that, you would expect something outrageous. But this
That
just,
doesn't sound like a double standard, though.
you know, I just was disappointed. That's all. It's
Yeah.
like I can't think of anything else to do. My voice is never going to be great. I'm not a through cancer, so.
Well, she actually has a decent voice. That's what's sad. But yeah. And then like one thing that a lot of people are talking too is that in her performance, the guy Alan Thicke or whatever that was performing with her was doing terribly like sexual things, but nobody's like, oh, look at that guy. It's only bad if it's a almost teenage girl that does it, but if a guy does it, it's totally fine. What do you think about that?
No, I don't know if I'd agree with that. I guess when it goes down to it, too, was when I saw what I saw of the performance, there was no subtlety to it or anything. I just sort of had the urge to, like if I found it in my living room, I'd yell at the animal to get off the clean carpet. You know, I want to throw, run them down, get them spayed. You know, there was some water on them. I mean, it was not sensual or anything. Ballerina can be very sensual. And you look at ancient grainy movies of Isadora Duncan down there 100 years ago. Excuse me, down there 100 years ago. And her dancing was extremely sensual. This
Yeah.
was just,
Well, yeah,
it's
it's
like something you just stumble on a back alley in a dirty
yeah,
city.
it's the difference between like artistic nude and pornography. But as a dad specifically, what about it affected you? Or didn't affect you? I don't know.
No, it's hard to think of it as a dad because I just. Well, she
Well,
makes,
what
on the
I-
other hand, she makes more money than you do, so that would be sort of.
But what if
Yeah.
I was the one up there doing that?
I don't know. Is there a trip to Europe in it for me or something in your private plane?
Come on, seriously. What would your reaction be if I, if I was doing
Disappointment because I know you're bad. You could do better.
that? So if I ever did like get so desperate to make my channel do well that I actually like poured it up, you would just be like, why? You wouldn't be like trying to market me out like Miley Cyrus's dad was all like,
That's a little weird.
or Lindsay Lohan's mom.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
She wrote a parenting guide. Lindsay Lohan's mom wrote a parenting guide. What? All right. Final thoughts. Closing thoughts. Check out his blogs.
Tell your friends so I can make some money because I want to go to Orlando in about 6 months
Yeah, he wants to go to Orlando while I'm at Play This Live so he can go to Disney World.
because I have free tickets to it.
Yeah, that are really, really old but still apparently good. From back when he used to
Disney
work
World
for
said
Disney.
yes, and I don't want to sleep in the bushes because there's rattlesnakes and alligators.
And you should leave questions for my dad to answer, like
I don't
about
know-
his career or whatever.
If I don't know the answer, I'll make up something.
And we can do a future like interview or whatever if you guys want.
So
All right.
it's goodbye because my ice cream